Hello everyone, it's Theo Norpan here, founder of Master Markets, Illustrates Conference and the Traders Open Day. So today we are looking at the Practical Vedanta and Trading video series, and we got this interesting topic called the movie. Okay, right, some of you are thinking, hey, hang on a minute Theo, now what is this all got to do with trading and psychology? And as some of you would have been following our Vedantic video series on the Practical Vedanta side, you can see that Vedanta is the highest science which studies the mind. So how do we all apply this? Today is what we're going to explore in terms of this concept, the movie. As you can see, I've done my best in my drawing over here. You can see that there is a screen. It's just like in a movie, right? When you go to the cinema, you've got the cinema screen over here. And you got the projector reel, which has got already the movie film inside it. And once you switch it on, once you switch on the projector, then the characters come to life in the screen, and then you start to see a movie where you as a viewer start to experience your emotions of happiness, sorrow, and then maybe excitement again, and anxious at times what's going to happen in the next part of the movie. So we go through all of these emotions. Once this projector is turned on and these characters come live on this screen, right, as a viewer, as most of us know as we've gone to cinema and movies. Now, once the movie ends and then you leave, and then some of the emotions stay with you for a minute or two, but after that you forget it because you know that this is unreal, right? Because the movie was just there, it's not really realistic, it's not the true part of your life, yeah? So that is all fine, okay? I know some of you are still thinking, okay, Turu, where are you going with this? How's that going to relate to trading? Alright, just hang on a minute, just be patient. Now, let me just then translate all of this into our everyday trading, okay? And some of you may relate that to everyday life as well. So let's take a look now. So we got the screen again. As traders, we got this computer screens in front of us where we switch on when it comes to life, and we switch on the computer, right? The electricity, let's say, and the CPU, right? So once that's switched on, so we switch it on over here, electricity on, and this computer starts to run, and then this screen comes to life with taking the data feed from the internet and the software, and then before we know it, we see all these characters being played, which in the movie is all these characters of human beings or cartoons, whatever, but in the trading world, that's going to be our old Chelsea bars, right, or candlesticks, whichever that you may choose to use. Now, once this starts to play, and that's how we can put the analogy of to the cinema screen, the movie, okay? So far everything makes sense. The projector screen is like our CPU, this cinema screen is like our trading screens, and these ones over here which come to life are the old Chelsea bars onto the screen. Okay, so far so good. Now, we move on a bit more deeper, if we may, and then we correlate everything together and it will start to make sense somewhat. Right. Now, let's go a bit deeper and analyze our being. So we've talked about in the previous video series about the 4 personalities, even in our Make It Happen video series as well, about the emotional personality within us, where the emotions come into play. So for example, think about this, right? Imagine now this projector is what we will now call as the mind, okay? And this screen over here, in Sanskrit, so in Sanskrit we call it the Atman principle, which is unchanging, or we can call it the spirit principle, okay, which is what we talked about before in the spiritual personality, the consciousness layer, okay, so we can call it the consciousness layer as well. Now, this screen over here never changes, right? So in Sanskrit, we call it Atman or spiritual personality or consciousness layer or spirit or soul, whatever you may feel comfortable with using. So we've got that. And then we've got the mind, which is related to the projector. Now, let's put all this together, right? So we switch on the trading screen. What doesn't change within us is the spiritual personality, because that's what's giving light. That's what's unchanging principle. But this projector here, once it's turned on, and how does it get turned on? When we come into interaction with the old Chelsea bars, as some of you traders will already know, that once we're in a trade and it's all going profitable, for example, right now on a trading floor, we are on a dollar-yen trade, which is going in our favor. But however, when it starts to retrace, right, you bought something, you wanted to go up and up and up and further, but what happens if it starts to come further down? And this is when your emotions of fear and loss starts to come in, right, because it's going against you at the moment, right? So what this movie here that is being played starts to then feed back to our mind when it's switched on, and the emotions of fear starts to come in. Oh my God, my once profitable trade is going into a loss. And the same thing can happen also in life, right? So for example, if you bought a property, if you bought it for £350,000 and then it goes up to £700,000, let's say economic crisis happens, recession happens, and it starts to reduce to £200,000, and in your mind it's like, oh man, you know, it went up all the way, why didn't I realize the profit? A fear of loss starts coming in when it starts to reduce in price. The same thing happens. And why does that happen? When this mind of ours, which has got all the emotional personality in it, and the logic and reasoning as well, when it starts to interact with this movie, which comes to life, because emotions can only come to life when the mind is switched on. It doesn't come to life when you're asleep. So when the mind is switched on, all these emotions start to play. This movie is created as you are interacting with the old Chelsea bars. Take a look at this, for example. Okay, take a pause and look at this. Now, if this mind was switched off, right? If this mind was switched off, or it doesn't have any control on your emotions, and the old Chelsea bars are still carrying on there, it cannot have any effect on you. You will have absolute precedence over your emotions. You now have control over your thoughts rather than the thoughts controlling you. Okay? Now, if we can then take a look at this whole analogy then, just like in the cinema movie, where we go and see a movie and we don't get really affected by its emotions, we know it's unreal, so we just let it pass, and then we come out of it and it doesn't affect us. Just like that, if we can remind ourselves always of the unchanging principle, which is the spiritual personality, which we've talked about this before in our previous videos on Practical Vedanta and trading, embed yourself there. Keep the mind still in the present moment in true meditation. That's why we do meditation, to keep your mind strong and get back to this Atmic principle, which is the spiritual consciousness layer. And once you are in that, the one that pervades all, then you have then governance and power over the mind, and you can control and you can govern your thoughts rather than the thoughts controlling you. Okay, so this is what I just wanted you all to reflect on. So do reflect on that. And of course, over here, the characters in the movie and everything, as you can see, I've done my best in terms of the drawing. All these characters in the movie is basically our emotions, right? Our emotions that come into play. Okay? So the trick is to come back and sit in here, and more awareness in here, and then we got more control over our emotions. Okay, good. The final thing what I want to leave you with, to summarize it all, this principle of this oneness that is same in all of us, the Atmic principle, is what we call Advaita, right? So there's no duality here, so it's all oneness. And how do we explain that? Some small examples that Vedanta gives is that think about sugar, right? Sugar is one, and it can be expressed in many different sweets, isn't it? Many different kinds of sweets, like your Ferrero Rochers or your celebrations or your Cadbury's, right? But the sugar is one, but it's in different sweets. And the same thing over here, for example, electricity, right, is one, but it can be expressed in different kinds of bulbs. So always connect back to here, this spiritual consciousness layer, which is the one strength that you have, which then gives rise to the mind being switched on and the emotions coming into play. When you are in that awareness, you'll be a true Vedanta trader, and you will always be able to follow your plan consistently, so that then in the cumulative perspective, your wins will override the losses with a good trading edge. Okay, I guess you all have enjoyed this video over here. So this is, just want to give you an example, and as we just take some time just to reflect on it and to integrate this knowledge. And as we always say, till the next time, stay disciplined, follow your trading plan, and keep trading like a master. Thank you.